Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. And today I'm really excited because we are filming our first of the year monthly reset and reflect, and I'm really excited. Last year I attempted to do these and I think I made it like halfway through the year consistently, and then right around the halfway through the year mark I kind of dwindled out and I was only doing them every couple months. So hopefully this year I will get better at doing them all the time. But yeah, welcome in. Today we are talking about January's monthly reset and reflect. And normally I think people do these both ways. I like to do it where I'm reflecting on the month that we just finished and then resetting or like planning out goals for the next month for February. So that's why I call it my January reset and reflect. We're gonna just get right into it because I have a lot to go over and we'll just kind of work our way through. So this year, normally, obviously I'll like share my monthly goals for the current month and then like share them for the next month. So since I didn't share my goals specifically for January last month, I will kind of explain them as I say if I reach them or not. So I have all my goals here. I will put them probably up on the screen. Maybe I'll just like shift over a little so you can see them. So you will see I've already gone through and I've crossed out the ones, I think I've crossed them all out that I was able to accomplish. Yep, I did. Okay, so first goal, I wanted to read 2 books this month, and I actually surpassed that by 4, I think. I think I ended up reading a total of 6 books this month, which I will get into. This month I will share all the books that I read in the month, but let me know what you think down below if you would prefer me to just share like my like top 1 or 2 books of the month, and then at the end of the year I'll like share all of the books that I read, or if you like the idea of me like sharing every month each book that I read. So let me know what you think. But I did end up reading more than 2 books. I read 6 books this month, which is kind of crazy because last like half of last year I was in a huge reading slump. I didn't hit my reading goal last year, and yeah, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Biggest thing, and I will get into this later, audiobooks. Biggest thing ever that I somehow have just stumbled across. My second goal for January, which I did kind of know was going to happen, but I'm still like including it. I still was going to include it, but I wanted to join a book club. So my sister-in-law and myself, and then 4 of her friends, but I also consider them my friends, all decided to create a book club, and we're going to meet once a month and we're reading 1 book a month, and I'm really excited. It was really fun. We had our first meeting already, so we're going to meet at the last Friday of every month, and it was really fun. So I'll talk about which book we read for book club, but I did join a book club and it was really fun. Establish a simple morning and night routine. This did not happen. I think I need to really slow this down. I feel like I was really ambitious, and that's like what happens. You're really ambitious at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, these are like goals that are a little bit hard and I need to like readjust them. So we're doing that. So I didn't establish a morning and night routine because I feel like I was just like overwhelmed with the idea of doing both. So what we're gonna do, and I'll get into this for the next, like for February's goals, but we're going to break it down into next month. I'm just going to establish a morning routine and then I'll establish a night routine, or vice versa. We'll figure out which one I'd want to focus on first. But yeah, I did not establish a morning and night routine. Honestly, it got worse as the weeks went on. First week of the year, I was like waking up at like 5:36 consistently, and then slowly but surely it's dwindled down, and now I'm waking up at 6:30 and I have to be out the door at 6:45. So that's how that's went. Can you just get comfortable already? There we go. Next goal. Again, one of those ones that I was just like really ambitious at the beginning of the year, and I just need to like tone it back way a lot. I said I wanted to move my body for 45 minutes every day. No, that is not happening. And I'm gonna adjust my yearly goal, because in my yearly goal, I said I wanted to move my body for 45 minutes every day, and already I have failed that yearly goal. So we're gonna adjust it. I'm gonna change it to, I want to overall, when I do like a total for the year, majority of days I would like to move my body for at least 45 minutes. That did not happen this month. There was, I think every week I worked out 2 times. I'm doing this because I think one week I only worked out once, but I think most weeks I worked out at least 2 times in the week. So, I mean, kudos to that. But yeah, it's just really hard getting back into a routine. We were so good before we went to Disney, and it was like as soon as we got back from Disney, it was like you're back from vacation and then you're like slow, like a little bit in, like you're kind of in your routine, but you're also not, and then you kind of dwindle, and then it's like holidays hit and everything's out the window. So we're just gonna rebuild. So did not move my body for 45 minutes every day, but we're gonna figure out something better for next month. I wanted to cook 1 new recipe a week. And this is again something that I have in my yearly goals, and I'm gonna change it, not because it wasn't hard or it wasn't easy to do, which it was. It's just a little bit more like costly, I guess. So this month, every month I did make a new recipe, which I love because I love cooking and I love trying new things and making new recipes and playing around in the kitchen. With every recipe, it was like, and I think this also comes with like us getting a new house, and like we didn't have anything, like we didn't have any spices, we didn't have anything, like we were totally starting from scratch. So it was like this month was pretty expensive, I feel like, even for our groceries. So and it was just like, you know, when I made butter chicken one week, I had to like go buy like 4 different spices, and I spent like $50 on spices, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So, you know, I didn't mind spending it because I will be making butter chicken again because it was really good. But I feel like doing the new recipes every single week was a little bit much. So I think I'm going to scale it back to just doing 2 new recipes a month, because then that way at least we're still doing new recipes and trying new things, but it's just a little bit less intensive. And like we are creatures of habit, like we kind of like eating the same things, you know, here and there. So it's not like we don't like eating the same things, like we do. So I feel like it's a happy compromise of like, we can try new things, but we can also just like continue to eat the things we like, and like just it's easier and kind of saves us a little bit of money. So but I did do it. I did do it for this month. Drink half a gallon of water a day. I did this, so I love that. I was drinking 2 to 2.5 bottles of Awalas a day, Awala water bottles a day. And this is one thing, I really want to get the bigger size Awala. So I don't know what the actual ounce of mine is right now, but it's like the medium size, I would say, because they have like one that's like, they have a baby now, and then they have one that's like, so they have like the baby, they have one that's a little bit bigger. That's the one that Austin has. I have the one that's a little bit bigger, and then they have one that's like, I think it's the same height, but it's just like wider. I want to get that one because I feel like that one, if I'm still filling it up 2 times a day, then I'm drinking like a good amount more. It's not double, but it's a good chunk more. So I want to keep my eye out to see if I can find one that's the one size up from the one I have now. I wanted to save $1,000, and we did that. We actually doubled that. We ended up saving $2,000 this month, which was really good because this month we actually, my budget was, or my income was cut in half this month because I had to take 3 weeks off from my work just for Christmas leave and everything. So the way that my paychecks were, I only made basically half of what I normally make. So that's why I only had $1,000 for savings, but we ended up saving 2. So that was really good. I wanted to reorganize the kitchen, and this one didn't get done. What ended up happening, I think, was that like we kind of settled everything in the house, which wasn't really on my plan, but that happened instead. But I wanted to reorganize the kitchen just because there's like certain things that are kind of shoved in cupboards right now, and they just like don't make sense. So I think I'm going to try and move this to maybe next month, if not the month like later, just because we still need to get, I want to get like a pantry system for in our basement, because right now we have all these bulk items sitting in our regular kitchen cupboards and it's taking up a lot of space. So that's one of the things I wanted to reorganize. And then the other thing was just like, you know, there's certain mugs and cups and plates that you don't use all the time, and like right now they're on this shelf, but like maybe I can move them up to this shelf, or maybe we don't even need those items. So I think I'm just gonna live with it a little bit longer and just really see what works and what doesn't work, and then I'll be able to kind of really do a reorganize, because I could have had time to do the reorganize this month, but I just feel like I would have ended up going and reorganizing like another 2 months later down the road. So I ended up just pushing that off, and I'm okay with that because I got other things done around the house that I wanted to. So that was good for me. 2 intentional dates. Now, These were not dates that we ended up planning. Like, we didn't say on Monday, oh, on Thursday, let's go for dinner. So I guess I'm like kind of cutting the corner on this, but there was 2 different nights that we ended up going out for dinner this month, where it was like, we were kind of both like, we don't really want to cook tonight. Like, do you want to go out for dinner? And then we went and had a nice dinner, and we sat and we chit chatted, and it was like undivided attention, anyway, undivided attention towards each other, which is always just nice to have when you like live together and you've been married for so long. I feel like there comes to the point where it's like, it's just routine to just, you know, you're just with each other all the time. So it's like those little like date nights kind of fall to the wayside because you're just with each other all the time, but it's nice to have the little intentional moments. I wanted to host a friend, which we did. We hosted a few friends. I hosted book club, so I would consider that one. I had one friend come over just for like a little day visit. We like caught up, had a little coffee, tea, whatever. I guess Austin and I had over Austin's sister for a Disney planning night, because if you don't know, which I don't know how you don't know if you don't know, but we're taking Austin's sister to Disney World this year. So every month we're going to have her over, and we're going to do like Disney planning, dinner, and possibly Disney movies. We didn't get to movies this time because we were just like so into the planning, but eventually we'll get into watching Disney movies when she's here. But I will consider that a host a friend, and I'm gonna consider that a family dinner, because this is what happened with family dinner. So my mom, now that we don't live with her anymore, we were planning on going over there last 2 weekends ago, and then the weather was really bad, and then last weekend it didn't work out. So now we're going over this weekend, but technically it's going to be February, so it doesn't count as family dinner. So I'm going to count like for January. So I'm going to count family dinner with Austin's sister when she came over, because it is family dinner and it was all of us together. So that's what I'm counting as our family dinner for the month. So we did technically do it. Okay, this one I think I actually stretched I think it happened. I wanted to post 2 times a week on YouTube, 3 times a week on TikTok, and 1 to 2 a week on Instagram. I don't think I actually posted 3 times a week on TikTok. I think I ended up posting between 2 to 3 times a week on TikTok. But that was fine for me. I was really content. Like, I feel like I was like uploading I think one week I uploaded like almost 5 times on TikTok, and it's just fun to like keep in my brain like, okay, you want to upload to TikTok, and like just when little things come up and I'm like, oh, this would be fun to film, or this would be a fun thing to upload, I just like upload it. So I don't know, I'm getting back in the hang of uploading on TikTok, so that was like the main draw. And then same with Instagram. I feel like I did slack a little bit on Instagram because I only posted once a week on each, but I definitely have been more active on my stories, which I also wanted to be doing. So I think it counts too. I don't know why, but I have posted weekly on Instagram, which is basically the same as the goal above. So obviously we did that. So those are my goals for January and what we did. Now I will talk about my reflection. I'll kind of go through just like my little layout that I have here for my monthly reset and reflect. We'll talk about everything for this month, and then at the end we'll talk about next month. So for my reflection, I wanted to reflect on the month, what went well, what didn't go well, what to work on for next month. So I highlighted 2 little things. One thing that did go well was reading. So like I said, I wanted to read 2 books and I ended up reading 6. And the main thing that I was able to do for reading was audiobooks. I love audiobooks. For one, if you don't think that audiobooks is considered reading, then sorry, you're not gonna like what I have to say here. But I love listening to audiobooks now, and before, my friend Claire, she always would listen to audiobooks, and I was like, I just can't focus on audiobooks, and I feel like, you know, the times that I was listening to them, I'm like, I'm just not retaining what information I'm getting and whatever. And she would say that she always listens to them like when she's driving or when she's working, like when she's doing like, you know, like computer work that she can like, you know, focus on, like it's easy things to do, but it's like she can focus on the words, you know? So anyway, so I said, okay, well, now that I'm driving by myself every day, about 30 minutes to work, 30 minutes home from work, that's an hour a day on like for books that I can listen to. I'm gonna just start listening to audiobooks. So with my library, we get like, there's audiobooks included in the library, which I don't know why I didn't really like put 2 and 2 together that I could do that. Like I was just thinking everybody was listening to audiobooks, like buying all these audiobooks. And I'm like, how are people affording to buy all these audiobooks? Or like, be on Audible and like spend the money on like a monthly membership and all this stuff. I was like, how are people affording this? But it's the library. That's at least that's how I'm managing it. So basically it was like every day I was listening to an hour to an hour and a half on an audiobook. Each book is like around 10 hours long. So by the end of the week, I was at like the 5-hour mark. And then on my Friday when I was at home, I was so invested in each book that I was like, well, I might as well just keep listening. And then I would end up listening to it all weekend, and then I'd finish an audiobook a week. So I really, really enjoyed it. Listening to audiobooks. So if you're not somebody who like has been able to get into audiobooks, try and find a time when you're doing something like that doesn't require a lot of like focus on, like, obviously you have to focus when you drive, but like I can listen to the words of what's going on. Or like my sister-in-law, she says whenever she's crocheting, she loves to listen to audiobooks because she's just watching what she's doing, but she doesn't have to like think, do this and do this and do this. Like, you know, does that make sense? So I would recommend, if you want to get into audiobooks, try to find things that you can do mindlessly and then listen to your audiobooks, and check out your local library if you haven't, because for some reason I just didn't think of that before. One thing that didn't obviously go very well was just working out, and I want to focus on for next month. So I really want to turn it into my morning routine. So the trying part of this is that I have to leave my house at like 6:45, 6:50, 6:55 if I'm pushing it, to get to work for 7:30. Well, I have to get to work earlier than that because I have to be on the floor by 7:30. But anyway, I have to leave my house at least by 6:45. So if I want to be able to like work out in the morning, I would have to get up at like 5 o'clock-ish to be able to work out, have a quick shower, and then like get my lunch ready and then go, which is totally achievable, I will say. During the summer, we were getting up every day at 5 o'clock. We were going for walks 45 minutes in the morning and still having time to do everything we needed to do. So it's totally achievable. It's just, I have to get the drive to get back into it. So that's why I want to try and incorporate working out into my morning routine again, because at the end of the day, after I've driven home for 30 minutes and like I'm in the car and I'm listening to my audiobook, I'm like, I'm relaxed as heck. I do not want to go downstairs and work out right now. So I think putting it into the morning routine is just going to be the best for me. And I love working out in the morning. It gives me so much energy. I find that I don't like get like the best results when I'm working out in the morning. An example, like I'm not getting personal records on my Peloton workouts because obviously I'm still waking up and I'm like waking up my body, but it's kind of like, you know, releasing those endorphins. It's getting you excited for your day. So yeah, I don't know. I think I want to try and incorporate it into my morning routine. So that's going to be my focus for February. So monthly favorites. I don't really have a ton of favorites just because I don't try a lot of new products or new things in a month. Just one, things are expensive, and two, I'm a creature of habit and I just like what I like. So in all these favorite sections every month, there will not be a lot of like new things, but I'll try my best to incorporate at least 2 things that I'm loving in the month. And it might not be new things, like both of the like products that I'm going to talk about are things that I've literally been using for like, the one thing I've been using for over a year, and then the other thing, it's like probably like 4 or 5 months I've been using them for. So they're not new per se, but they're things that I love. So I'll try my best. So for movies and TV series, I ended up only seeing 2 movies this month. Normally I'm a big movie person. I only ended up watching 2. But my favorite movie was Mean Girls. And this movie is not the best as a movie as a whole, but Renee Rapp in this movie, whew, I love her. I love Renee Rapp. And if Renee Rapp was in my life, in real life, I would just worship her. Like, I love her. I love her so much. I think she did such a good job in the movie. She easily made the movie enjoyable for me. And yeah, it was really fun. It was a fun movie too. Like, my friend Evan and I went together and we just said like, it was fun. Like, it was a fun movie to go to. So I enjoyed that. But Renee Rapp was the standout for that being my favorite movie of the month. And then the other thing is that we've been back into watching our TV series again, and it's really nice because now that Austin and I like have our own space, we can actually sit in a living room together and like dedicate watching time to TV. So we've been watching The Vampire Diaries, and I love it so much because I watched the Vampire Diaries growing up. I think I only got to like I want to say season 4 or season 5 maybe. But Austin has never seen it. So it's been really fun watching his reactions, and like he is eating it up. And at first he was like kind of like, he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. But he has been loving it. So it's been really fun to like watch it together. And like it's really like undivided attention that we're like, okay, we're sitting down, we're watching our show, and we like put our phones away. And as soon as we start picking up our phones, that's when we know, okay, we don't want to watch anymore. We'll do other things. But like, you know, we'll get a couple episodes in and it's really fun. So we're like halfway through season 2 right now, I think. So no spoilers in the comments for anybody, because Austin reads the comments. So no spoilers in the comments for him, but we're loving that. Games. I've been on my Dreamlight Valley kick again. Dreamlight Valley put out their like expansion pack, which I actually didn't buy because I am not anywhere near finishing the game yet. So I wanted to like get as far in the game as I could right now before I go and buy the expansion pack. But I've been loving Dreamlight Valley. Even if I literally turn on my computer, go online and check Scrooge's shop just to see what kind of goodies I can get and then log off, that's good enough for me. But I've been loving it. If you're a big game person, like, I don't know, I still every once in a while play it on the Switch, but it's still pretty laggy. But if you're a game person and you haven't played Dreamlight Valley, if you like any type of like just relaxed game where you kind of just run around and like you have a little bit of a story to go by, and like it's really fun. It's not just a farm sim game, like it is so fun, and it's all your normal favorite Disney characters, so it's very fun. Creators, so I have 3 creators I'm going to highlight. Again, I'm a creature of habit, so I really watch all the same people. It's just like through the year I get different spurts of like who I'm watching all the time. So right now I'm loving Tara Michelle because she went back to Disney World at the beginning of this month, and I watched her Disney vlogs, and then from there I was like, oh, I miss watching her. I love watching her. So I've been watching all her vlogs again. So Tara Michelle is a Canadian YouTuber, and she goes to the US all the time. She travels a bunch. She's like one of those people that it's like, she feels realistic when she's at home, but then I also love watching her stuff when she's like traveling to all these places, because I'm like, wow, I wish I could do that. Like, that's crazy. That's so fun. So I like, it's a good mix of both, which I love. Another fave is Brianna Tata, and I just love Brianna with my whole heart. And she's been somebody who truly has been like, what am I doing? I'm gonna cry in a monthly favorites video. She's been somebody who's just like slowly become like a really good friend in real life too. And it's one of those things where it's like her in her videos is exactly her in real life. And honestly, in real life, she's even like more of a joy to like talk to and interact with. And like, I just adore her, and I love her content. I think her content is so good. It's so simple, but it's so well done at the same time. Like the way she edits her videos, the way she plans them out, you can tell that she puts a lot of thought and effort into her videos, and I just love Brianna. So if you do not follow Brianna, go check her out because she's literally the best, and I just adore her. And then my last favorite creator is Tyler Braun and Jessica Braun, but right now it's Tyler because he's uploading all of their Disney vlogs from when they went, I think it was the end of last year's, the vlog series that they have going out right now. But I adore Tyler Braun. I love their vlogs. Their vlogs are my favorite type of vlogs because, one, I do find that they're kind of similar to ours, where it just kind of feels like a home movie, and that's like always the vlogs that I like to watch. You know, artsy vlogs are fun, but it's like, I just love ones that like, if you're just filming and like you can just hear the noises of Disney in the background, or, you know, there's like little montages of a ride and like there's a little bit of music on it, and like, I don't know, I just love those kind of vlogs. So I've been really enjoying Tyler's vlogs. Okay, and then favorite products. So I have 2 products that I'm going to talk about. First one is the Peace Out Acne Pimple Patches. These pimple patches I have been using for over a year. I honestly maybe want to be as bold and say 2 years. I constantly repurchase these. I love these guys. They are so good. They are a little bit more on the pricier side, so I do want to try and find some that are a little bit cheaper. But honestly, these work so well. I don't even want to spend my money on ones that are maybe a little bit cheaper to see if I can save some money. Like, I just know these work so well, so I love them. I use them, Austin uses them. They're the best. They're just like one little strip that comes, I think there's 10. Yeah, there's 10 in a pack. I end up buying the like 30 pack from, I think it's 40 pack from Sephora. Lasts me so long, and these little devils, they get everything out. And if they don't get everything out, it's ready there for you to do what you need to do to your pimple to get rid of it. So I love my acne patches. And then the other thing, this is something I've been using for, I want to say like maybe like 4 months now. But this is the Day Cactus Fruit 3-in-1 Styling Cream. I love this cream so much. This is what I have in my hair right now to slick it back. This is what I use for any type of slick back styles that I'm doing, or anything where I want to do like braids, because I have a little bit, like not a bang, but like a little bit of a curtain bang. My bangs kind of go to here. This is just nice for when I want to do a braid and I don't want, like, you know, the little flyaway that sticks out. Like, it totally smooths it down. Same with here, like it totally slicks it down. But in the morning, honestly, I can kind of brush through this and just throw it up in a regular updo or whatever, and it doesn't really look like I had, you know, gunk in my hair the day before. I wouldn't say you can go and fully have your hair down and look beautiful the next day, like curled and whatever, or straightened, but you definitely can do like 2 up, like this doesn't have to be hair wash day. Like, I can still wash my hair tomorrow or even possibly the day after, because once you brush it out, it does just feel nice and smooth and soft, like how it did before you put this in. Just makes it a little bit more shiny. Okay, so going into books, this I'm going to try and go through pretty quickly because I have 6 books to talk about. So I will try my best to go through quickly because already this video is getting so long. Okay, so sorry guys. So first book of the year that I read was an audiobook, and it was Finding Me by Viola Davis. And I enjoy her movies, but I've never really known much about her as an actress or as a person. So I was intrigued because Jessica Braun, when she was doing her yearly recap of all the books that they read in the year, she said that this was one of her all-time favorite memoirs and one of her favorite books from last year. So I was like, okay, sign me up. I will read it. And this I ended up giving 5 stars. I thought this was a beautiful memoir. It was easily one of the best memoirs I've ever listened to. It was super intriguing from the start to finish. Like, there was never a moment where I was like, oh, this is boring. Like, this is crazy. And I say in all my reviews, like on Goodreads, it's hard for me to rate memoirs because it's like, I'm not trying to critique somebody's life. Like, that's somebody's life. Like, I can't say like, oh, your life was boring or whatever, but it's just, I try and critique it in the best way of like how they're writing the novel and how they're writing their memoir and how they're like, you know, the writing in the book. It was incredible, and I really think it put me at that 5-star mark just because it was an audiobook and it was her delivering the audiobook. Like, she was the narrator, so she's an amazing actress, so you can just hear it in her voice how she, you know, portrayed her own memoir in this book. So yeah, it was a great memoir. If you are able to listen to it on audio, I would highly recommend because it was beautiful. The next book that I read in the year, Who Am I? Because I do not like nonfiction, but the next book I read was Spare by Prince Harry. And I really wanted to like read into the hype of this I think it was last year that it came out, but I really wanted to, sorry, memory card. I really wanted to read into the hype of this book last year when it came out. And I just like, I was like, I just don't want to buy this because I'm just like not that intrigued. So when I saw that it was available on the library for audiobook, I was like, all right, sign me up, let's hear it. And it wasn't great, but that's okay. It is what it is. I think I ended up giving it a 3-star. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. It was just like, there was moments where I was intrigued by what he was saying, and then there was other moments where I was a little bit bored, but only because, and this is totally fault of my own, but I like consuming the like royals. Like, I'm very intrigued by them. So when Meghan and Harry did their documentary a couple years ago, I watched that. I've watched all the Oprah all the Oprah shows. I've watched all the like other shows that they've done and interviews that they've done. So I've watched all that stuff, so it's like I kind of knew a lot of the stories he was telling that were royal based, but I really enjoyed listening to all of his work with, like when he was in Africa and when he was working like in the military and all his different times serving and him talking about all that. I really enjoyed listening to his stories when he was away. So I liked that aspect of it, but it wasn't like the best memoir I've ever heard. This one totally took me by surprise. I had no clue what this was going to even entail, but I loved it. So this was The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. And I've never read an Ellen Hildebrand book before, and they've always kind of intrigued me, but I really just thought they would just be like a classic, like cheesy fiction, like whatever, it is what it is. But I was looking for Ellen Hildebrand books specifically on the library, and this was like one that was available right away. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. Literally knew nothing of what it was about, and as soon as it started, I was intrigued. And it's basically about this hotel that is being redone by this millionaire, billionaire, whatever, and it kind of follows the lives of like all these different people that are associated with the hotel. And normally I do not like books that have like multiple POVs. POVs. Because I just find like my brain, I'm just like, I cannot focus and I do not care about anybody's life. Like Malibu Rising, I didn't like at all because I just found there was way too many side stories to like pay attention to. But this one was like just the perfect amount where there's a lot, because there's obviously a lot of different people at this hotel, but it was just the right amount where it was like I can still keep track of who's who. And there's times where I genuinely was like, oh, this isn't real. Like this isn't a real story. But it was very good. There was like juicy gossip going on. There was like, oh my gosh, all this stuff happening. And I just loved it. Like literally from start to finish, I loved it. The only thing I will say was that, you know, there was a little bit of a like twist that kind of happens. Or a bit of a mystery that kind of goes on, and I did guess it right from the beginning. So I don't like when that happens. Like I don't mind if I guess it like towards like the middle or like end before it's announced, but when it's like right at the beginning, I'm like, I don't love that. So that was like the only thing that made me not rank it like a full 5 stars, but this one got 4 stars and I really enjoyed listening to it. So I feel like if you are in the market to listen to like a fun, exciting, just kind of like general fiction book, this was really good. Then I read my first Riley Sager book and I was not disappointed. So I ended up listening to Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. And in my TBR for 2024, I talked about how in general I just wanted to read some type of Riley Sager book. There was a different book on my list that I had. I think it was The Last House on the Left or The House Across the Lake or something like that. That was like the book that I originally had said I wanted to read. But this one was available right away from my library. So I was like, all right, let's try it. Let's see what it is. And I loved it. I thought it was so good. It was so entertaining. The author, like the narrator was really good. And I feel like that's a big part of audiobooks that really draws me in or not, is if the narrator is good. Because some of these books, I'm like the narrator, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really getting tough to listen to. But the narrator was good. I really enjoyed it. The twist at the end was not expecting, and this is why I was so intrigued to read Riley Sager books, because everybody kind of says that his books are all very like, you never really expect the twist, or the twist is always like something totally out of left field, but not totally out of left field where you're like, okay, that doesn't even make sense. Like they make sense for him. So anyway, Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, I ended up giving it 4 stars and I loved it. It was so good. And then I finished Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, and this is the book that we read for book club. So what happened was one of the girls, she was the first one to pick the book for this month, and she ended up sending 3 books options, and then we all voted on which ones we wanted to read, and this one was the last in my list out of the 3 that she sent. But it was the one that got picked because everybody else wanted to read it. But I did enjoy it, like fully I did enjoy it. It just wasn't like my favorite book ever. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It was just like, there was just parts of it that I was just like, I just don't love this. I didn't really love the one guy that was in it. He was kind of annoying to listen to. I wish there was more of the octopus. yeah, that was like the main thing. And again, it was one of those things where it was like right away I kind of guessed what the plot point was towards the end, and I was just like, oh, that kind of stinks that I guessed that really soon, because it would have been cool to figure it out as like the book was going. But overall, it was a good book. I would recommend, like, I would still recommend it to certain people, I feel like if you like a general fiction or like a fantasy like a realistic kind of fantasy, is that what they're called? Magical realism or something like that. Something like that. It's interesting. And then the last book that I ended up finishing for this month was The Last Lie I Told. Not The Last Lie I Told. The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. So again, another Riley Sager audiobook. This one I ended up giving 4 stars as well. I was shocked by the end. This one didn't really have me as much throughout the whole book. There was like a majority of the book I was like I was kind of just like, I'm not really connecting with it, not really connecting. And then towards the end, I was like, oh, I kind of predicted this ending. Like I even was like in the middle of writing a Goodreads review because I had like 20 minutes left in the book, and I was like, oh, I kind of predicted this ending. Like, that's too bad. That wasn't my favorite, but it was still okay. Literally in the last like 2 minutes, I was like, what is happening? So it was crazy. So I ended up bumping up my rating from a 3 to a 4. So it was really good. It wasn't as good as Lock Every Door in my opinion, but it was still a really good book. This one is based in like also I didn't even talk about what the other ones were about. Did I? Yeah, I didn't talk about the last 3. So sorry about that. This one is about, you can go on Goodreads and read what they're all about, but I'll tell you what this one's about. This one's about this girl that 13 years ago, 13 or 15 years ago, she was at a camp and these girls go missing, and she kind of relives it over and over in her head, and she's like, feels like she's guilty about it, and she has some reasons why she feels like she's guilty, but there's other people at this camp who feel like they're guilty. Anyway, 15 years later, they're all invited back, but now she's a counselor at the camp instead of a child at the camp. And just kind of the same series of events start to unfold, and she has to like figure out what's going on essentially. So that's like the best description I can give. Should I quickly give ones for the other ones? Lock Every Door. It's about a hotel, and the hotel is like got some weird stuff going on. That's the basics. That's the basis of what I can say. Remarkably Bright Creatures is about this older woman who is working at an aquarium, and she ends up becoming friends with the octopus that's there, and there's some other like side stories, but that's like the main premise of this one. Okay, those are all the books that I read for this month. I hope that wasn't too like crazy for me to go through all those books, but let me know if you liked listening to every single book, or if you want to just like know the couple books that I enjoyed. Okay, so moving into the February goals, I will just quickly go over these just to kind of highlight what's going on, because a lot of these I did talk about in last month's goals of how I was gonna, implement them. So first goal, I want to listen to 4 audiobooks. I feel like this is totally achievable because I listened to 5 audiobooks last month. So we're going to listen to 4 audiobooks, and I want to physically read 2 books. So this month, 5 of my books were audiobooks, and then 1 was a physical read. So I really want to try and read at least 2 books and then audiobooks 4. I want to establish my morning routine. So like I said, I want to do a 5 a.m. wake up, workout, and then my meal prep, which I already meal prep like at the beginning of the week. I just have to like make my actual lunch and bring it with me. But it does make it a lot easier to quickly just like throw it from one container into the other and then go. So that's my morning routine that I really want to get established this month. I want to move my body 3 to 4 times a week. I'm not putting a limit on how long, like I'm not saying 45 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, but I would like to at least just get into the habit of, even if I go downstairs and I do like a 30-minute stretch or a 20-minute yoga or, a 15-minute bike ride. Like I just want to get back into the habit of moving my body multiple times a week. Yeah. Cook 2 new recipes each month. Like I said, it's a little bit more costly to be doing 4 meals a month, new meals a month. So we're just going to do 2 this month and see if it makes a difference for us for our monthly budget for our groceries. I want to drink 0.5 gallons of water per day, half gallon of water per day. I'm not going to up it quite yet just because I'm still like getting used to drinking 2 bottles. So we will increase it all the way to a gallon by the end of the year. But again, just half a gallon is perfectly fine for me this month. I want to fully save my monthly income this month. So normally that's what we were doing in the past, but just with moving and holidays and everything, and like the holidays I had to take, we weren't fully saving my paychecks. So I would like to get back into fully saving my paychecks again. I want to do 2 intentional dates again, and I really would like to try to be like, let's plan to do this. Let's plan to do this. So that'll be fun. Again, I want to host a friend. So whether it be book club again or have a couple friends over for like a little movie night or something like that, we'll see what we're doing. I want to reorganize our bathroom. So right now we just have bins underneath of our sinks and nothing is organized, and I'm using the same 2 products and that's it. So I want to reorganize the bathroom and get to do all that stuff. I want to post for my content 2 times a week on TikTok, 2 times a week on YouTube, and 1 time a week on Instagram. I feel like that is totally achievable, and that gives me, you know, the option to like maybe post 2 times a week on Instagram or 3 or 4 times a week on TikTok. So at least I'm reaching those things. All right, and my final goal for February, which is kind of leading into an announcement that I kind of hinted at if you watched my vlog on Monday, but my goal for February is that we're going to start a podcast, and I'm so excited. So Austin and I have decided that we're going to start a podcast, and I'm just giddy thinking about it. We have already recorded our first episode, so it is coming, and I'm just like super excited for you guys to see it and hear it. And the reason we wanted to start this, and I do talk about this in the podcast, so be sure to check it out, but the reason we really wanted to start it was we filmed that Disney favorites video a few weeks ago, and as soon as I was done filming it, I was like, this is so fun. Why don't we have a Disney podcast? So Austin and I kind of talked about it, and we were like, yeah, like this is fun. This is natural for us. This is totally something we would do and talk about and would love to share with you guys. So we are starting our own Disney podcast, and we're really excited. And I just want to give a quick little shout out to my lovely friends Brianna and Corey on the Magic at Home podcast, and also our sweet dear friends Brandon, Heidi, Haley, and Tommy at the Park Squad podcast. They are both truly some of our best people in the whole world, and I went to both of them with this because it was just kind of funny that like Brianna and Corey have already had their podcast established for I think over a year now. And they've just been like doing so well, and they love doing their podcast. And our friends Brandon and Heidi and Haley and Tommy, they all just announced that they were doing a podcast a couple weeks ago. So it was just kind of like a weird timing where I was like, we were already thinking about it, and we had no clue that Brandon and Heidi and Haley and Tommy were doing a podcast. So I reached out to Brandon and Heidi, and I was like, I just want to let you guys know we're thinking about doing this too, but like, I just want to make sure nobody is like upset that anybody else is doing podcasts or whatever. And both sets of friends, all sets of friends, we're all like, we are always here to support everybody, and like, we are just excited, and we will all be the first to listen, and we are all just so excited. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to them because I always appreciate friends supporting friends, and you know, it's a space where everybody's included and everybody can do their own thing, and nobody feels like any type of pressure or like intensity in any which way. But I just wanted to throw that out there just because like it's just like funny that like all of a sudden all these podcasts are gonna start popping up, but it's because podcasts are fun, and they're fun to listen to, and they're fun to make. So anyways, want to give a shout out to them. I'll leave everything down below. You guys can go check them out if you haven't already. But onto our podcast. So our podcast is going to be called Mic'd Up Magic, and it is going to be Austin and myself, and we will be talking all things Disney on there. So anything like Disney parks, food, restaurants, resorts, anything like Disney movies, Disney news, Disney whatever, Marvel, Star Wars, whatever we want to talk about, it's going to be on that podcast. So I'm really excited. So if you want, you can go follow our Instagram, which is Mic'd Up Magic Podcast on Instagram. And lucky for you, the video version of the podcast will be available on this channel. So We decided not to make a separate channel because naturally the Disney content just fits in here. So you will actually not be only getting 2 videos from me a week anymore. Every other week you will be getting 3 videos because one will be a podcast. So I'm so excited for you guys to, you know, learn more about this, for me to share with you. Our first episode is going to be going live on Tuesday, February 6th. Our first podcast is going to go live on the channel here and also on Apple and Spotify. So I'm really excited. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy listening to it. And I'm excited to hear all of your thoughts on the podcast. Okay, guys. That is everything. This video is so freaking long. I am so sorry. Thank you guys so much for staying and like being a part of it and listening and sitting here and, you know, listening to the video. But anyways, if you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, go check out the Instagram that we're having for our podcast. Leave me a comment down below what some of your favorites were for the month, what were some goals that you had for this month, or what goals you have for next month. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. And you will also hear from me very soon on our new podcast. Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye.